Greetings YouTube viewers, welcome to episode 3 of Stuff from Japan. Today I am joined by a guest, Undamned Jr., and his contribution is to sit here and not cry and make little baby and fart sounds. We'll see if he can help us with that. Today is special in that I am showing off my Rockman collection, which until recently I have never really showed anybody. I've been working on this for about 10 years now. The 10 years also encompasses the 3 major regions, US, Europe, and Japan, but the last maybe 3 years I've kind of really tried to hunker down and finish out my Rockman collection, the actual Japanese games. So, I hope you enjoy it. A few little side notes. The light inside the case itself puts kind of a nasty glare on things, so I'm going to have to try some different angles to try and avoid the major glare issues, but hopefully it should still be enjoyable. A quick overview of the collection. I'm not a fan of tons of stuff. I'd rather have quality stuff that's well thought out, well arranged, and really have a reason for owning things. So not everything I have has an explicit reason for being owned. Some things I did buy on a whim, but for the most part I think it's pretty well thought out. I've been pretty strategic with everything, so hopefully that comes across. And being as this is stuff from Japan, I did cheat a little bit. There are a few figures that are Chinese figures, so they're not technically from Japan, but they're at least licensed by Capcom of Japan. So, on that note, we're going to dive in here. And right here, we're going to start with the classic collection. So, we got, as you can see, Rockman 1 through 6 on the Nintendo Famicom. And right here we've got Rockman Mega World for the Sega Mega Drive. And right here I have some figures. The Airman, Blues, Roll, Cutman are all from Bandai's Super Modeling Soul series. And then Wily, Light, Rush, Beat, and Metal are all from the aforementioned Chinese company. Those were also released, these are actually keychain versions, and I removed the keychains from them, but they were also released as a box set, and I don't know good search terms to find that box set, because on the packages that I had for my keychains, most of it's in kanji aside from licensed by Capcom, so good luck finding those. They do pop up on eBay occasionally. I am going to move on and come back to a few items here and there. We got the black and white Game Boy, Rockman World 1 through 5. Got the Kotobukiya original series Rockman, and he is really great. I love this figure. I think he captures original series Rockman very nicely. The boy robot. PSP Rockman. And we're gonna go back up here. Got Rockman 7 for the Super Famicom. This figure right here is one of the many Rockman gummy figures. And this is Otto. He is a very cool character. He's one of my favorite Rockman characters, and that's why I have him there. And moving on to Rockman 8 for PlayStation and Saturn, which you can't see very well. Maybe I'll show that in a little bit. Then down here we got Duo, the kind of the hero to Rockman 8, and also in the arcade games, which is pretty stinking cool. Then we got, both on the top and mid, we've got Rockman and Forte, and this figure here is the Super Modeling Soul series from Bandai as well. Got the Game Boy Advance and Wonder Swan versions of these games. Then X through X3 for Super Famicom, X3 and X4 for Sega Saturn, and then down here we got X and X2 for Game Boy and Game Boy Color, and Maverick Hunter for PSP. We're going to hop back up here, finish out the X series. This is the Bandai D-Arts Rockman X, which is super detailed if you don't have one, and superposable if you don't have one. So cool. If you can still find them from importers, you can probably get it for less than 50 or around 50, which for the quality of the figure, I think that it's worth it. It's really nice. This pose here, if you didn't already notice, is from the Rockman X3 cover. There he is charging his Buster shot. Over here we have Aaliyah from the X series and Axel from the X series. And both of those figures are made by a company called Yamato. And some of the packages for these just say Capcom on them, but if you read the fine print, it'll say overseen by Capcom designers or something to that effect. So it's actually designed by Yamato, and some of the boxes are actually released by Yamato, but some of them just say Capcom. So you may or may not have a hard time finding those today. I couldn't find Axel for a reasonable price, but I found him and Aaliyah from an Italian distributor, and I think including shipping I paid about 20 bucks, which for the detail, they're pretty awesome. I really like them. Let's finish out the top row games. So we've got X4, X5, and X6 for PS1, and then X7, X8 Command Mission for PS2, and GameCube X Command Mission, yeah. And down here we've got Zero from the Bandai Super Modeling Soul series of figures. The Zero Game Boy Advance games. Here are some of my Legends figures. These are made by Eugene. Rockman Dash, the Kobun are from Eugene's Rockman Dash series, and Roll and Tron are from Eugene's Namco Cross Capcom series, which came later. But they're about the same scale, and I think they jive nicely. So there's my games. They're in the back, the Dash 1 and 2. And then coming down here, we got larger scale Tron figure with Favorite down there. And then Dash for N64, Tron Kobun for PS1. This is a nice little diorama I've got going here with my Kobun mug, and we got these other little Kobuns that are kind of gawking at it and trying to figure it out. And these guys up top are kind of freaked out about being up there. The Kobun mug comes in ceramic and in plastic. This is a ceramic one, and at the time I didn't know that they were plastic and ceramic, but I'm glad I got the ceramic one because it looks really well made. And it is not a cookie jar. I've seen some people refer to it as a cookie jar. I can understand the confusion, but the box does say mug and cup. Here is a very rare Tron Kobun promotional item. It's called the Kobun Laser Yo-Yo. And for those of you who are old yo-yo fans, it kind of reminds me of the Yo-Mega. You can see a little clutch mechanism inside. And there's also lights inside, which will light up when the yo-yo is spinning to create the laser effect. And then we've got some little Kobuns holding up the package here. I think our guest is getting a little restless. Yeah. So here is the EXE series, and I got a little fed up with Capcom releasing double sequels. It just got pretty ridiculous, especially if you're going to collect multiple regions. And one day I just decided, this is ridiculous. I'm not going to buy 6 games every time a sequel comes out. So for my Rockman series, I've got 1, I've got 2 with the limited edition original Game Boy Advance console, I've got white and black 3, and then blue and red 4 in the limited edition Game Boy Advance SP releases. Those each actually come with a SP system. And then this wasn't a release with a game or anything, but this soft case I think looks great. It just really pops. It's kind of a rubberized vinyl type of stuff. I think I paid like $10, but it's just a really nice looking case, and I thought it kind of went with everything. These little marble shooting figures were actually the very first Rockman figures I ever purchased, and I couldn't tell you what year that was, but they just looked kind of cute, and I picked those up. They came together in one package. Side note, marble shooting figures are not unique to Rockman. There's actually quite a few of them. I have a Bomberman figure that shoots a marble out of his chest, so I don't know the proper term for that. I want to say it's Bdamen, but yeah. So this is just kind of a random thing. Probably one of the more random aspects of this collection is the Wonder Swan EXE game. I don't even know where it fits into this series, but I found it in good condition for cheap, so I figured I'd throw it in there. It's like N1 something or other, I can't remember the name. Here is the GameCube EXE series game. And moving over here, this is kind of my random games area. We've got Battle and Chase, Soccer, Rockboard, Super Adventure Rockman for PlayStation and Saturn. So those don't really fit in anywhere else, so I figured I'd put them all by themselves. And then we're closing in on the arcade stuff. This is Rockman 2, The Power Fighters. This big green thing, if you're not aware, is a part of a cartridge-based arcade system that Capcom put out called CPS2. And that thing just mates with a system board, and you can play a bunch of other games on that system. But it does go inside of an arcade cabinet. So this is an original CPS2 box, but unfortunately it doesn't match the cartridge. It's not a Rockman box, but it's proper to the era. This artwork is probably one of the hardest to find items in my entire collection, was original artwork for this game, because a lot of times you either find photocopied art or it's just kind of beat to garbage. These are, one of the pieces is kind of rough. It looks like they've got a little bit of water damage. I may try and replace those later if I can find them. The move strip is actually really good shape and doesn't look like it's ever been applied. Over here, here's the console releases for the arcade games. Back there is the PS2 version, and then right here is the Neo Geo Pocket version. And then this right here is the Rockman 1 Power Battle for the arcade. And I was fortunate enough to grab some, I think we're making some poops over here. I was fortunate enough to grab some brand new art for this. It was untouched. It had the brand new art, brand new manual. I was super excited about that. I got that separate from the board. I don't know the history on the board, but this one looks super clean. It may actually be unused. And for you diehard collectors, you can actually find, on rare occasion, a CPS2 cartridge of the first Rockman arcade game. Pretty rare. There are some bootleg ones floating around, but I know somebody who has an original factory kit that's legit of that, so pretty impressive. I'm going to backtrack a little bit and go through a few more key items. So if you notice this book and this pencil case and these CDs right here and this card case, those are all prizes given to people who submitted robot designs that were rejected. I don't know if the prize was relative to how good of a design they had or not. But anyways, these were given to people that submitted designs back in the day and didn't quite make it to the final 8 that got into their respective games. But these items are pretty rare. The top 2, the bottom 2, you can find those CDs all over the place. I've seen those since I started collecting Rockman games. They pop up on eBay. I doubt many people even know the history on them, but those were prizes for rejected robot designs. The card case, not super rare. The rarest aspect of that for my collection is that I actually have the mailing bag that it came in, which is kind of cool. Got Dr. Wily's face on there. And there was a pencil case up on eBay recently. This is not it. I got mine a while ago and I scored it for like 10 bucks or something, super cheap. The book kind of cost me an arm, but it actually came with the original award letter, which is pretty awesome. And I also have an award letter for one of the music CDs, which made the cost of it when I bought it like probably, I don't know, I want to say like 6 times what it should cost, just because it came with the award letter, but it kind of legitimizes it, so I can understand that. This up here, this watch, it's a legitimate Rockman product. It's made by Bandai. I don't know the history on it. I got it for cheap. I want to say I paid like $5 for it. But it's just kind of a cheapy digital watch, but it does say Rockman 7 down the band, and it's got some artwork on it, and so I like that. There was a big glare on a lot of this stuff on the top layer, so I'm going to go over these real quick. There's the Rockman 8 for Saturn, X3 and X4 for Saturn, and I think everything else kind of showed up over here. And I think that pretty much wraps it up. I do plan on adding a few more figures to the collection. There's a fella I know who him and his brother make custom figures. I'll put a link to his stuff in the description, and I'll probably do another video when I get those figures from him. But he makes some amazing Rockman stuff, him and his brother do. So I plan on adding those. I do plan on picking up the other D-Arts figures, the Zero Type 2, and also the Vile figure that's coming out, or Vava if you prefer in the Japanese games. So for the most part, I don't really plan on changing anything else. Do plan on picking up X3 for PlayStation 1 and maybe replace a few boxes that are kind of beat, but for the most part I really feel like my Rockman collection is pretty complete. And like I said earlier, it's been a long time coming, but I've had a lot of fun putting it together. This case I scored for like 50 bucks, so don't think that I'm Mr. Rolling in the Dollars guy because I've got a nice display case. If you want to find a nice case, look around for businesses that are closing down and see if they have display cases and things of that nature. I'm trying to remember the proper term for that type of equipment, but yeah. Oh, fixtures. Just look for places with store fixtures. Even on Craigslist and stuff like that, you can find things on the cheap, because I don't know what this would normally cost, but I want to say it would probably cost like hundreds of dollars, you know, for a case like that. So 50 bucks was a steal. Also, if you're wondering about how I mounted things, for example, the 1 through 6, this is actually mounted on a custom, it's foam board and styrofoam mount that I made myself for, you know, it probably cost me like a couple dollars. So if you're a collector and you're wanting to display your stuff, do yourself a favor and use your 3rd grade craft skills and make your own stuff. It's not worth throwing tons of money at it and finding out that it doesn't even suit your needs properly, because I looked at a lot of like plexiglass stands and stuff for displaying jewelry and things like that. A, it's super expensive, and B, if I put all that in here, I wouldn't have enough room for everything. These clear cases, I'll put a link in the description for those. These Super Famicom boxes are perfect. There's enough room to where it's not going to scratch the box. There's like a couple millimeters of play, but near perfect box design. You notice on these, the shiny finish, this is going to sound stupid, but that's actually saran wrap. If you have a box that's a little bit beat up, if you wrap the thing in saran wrap and slap some tape on the back, it actually doesn't look so bad. And it also, if the flaps on either side have a tendency after a while to not want to close, the saran wrap actually holds those in nice and tight, so that's pretty cool. These bags, oh, that's another thing I forgot to mention. One of the things that I would say that has taken the most time in this collection is most of the CD-based media is still factory sealed. And that doesn't mean that I don't play my games. I actually have US versions of most of these. But that was kind of one of the challenges that I was pursuing. Is in collecting, a lot of times you want to go for the highest or the best condition items you possibly can, and obviously the best condition item you can get is one that's still factory sealed. And so that's probably one of the largest achievements, aside from getting some of their rarer items, is actually getting almost all factory sealed disc-based games, which is quite a chore, and I don't know that I would be capable of doing it today, because I bought a ton of this stuff years ago when it was probably less than $50 a game to import those. Today you're probably looking at up to hundreds of dollars for some of those games. So yeah, and I also got some sweet deals on the Zero games. I think 3 of those are brand new, and I got those imported for like 20 bucks a pop. So I really did get some sweet scores. I got these limited edition consoles before they blew up. I think I paid under $100 for each of those limited edition consoles. So like I said, don't think that I'm full of money because I've got all this stuff. I've been very patient and very strategic with all of these purchases, and I think that it has turned out really nicely. So leave some comments. Let me know if you think it's cool or if you don't, and why. And if I agree with why you don't think it's cool, then maybe that'll give me some tips on improving it. So aside from packing in ridiculous amounts of stuff, I can't think of too much more to add. So I may do a future video of some of my other Rockman stuff that's not in here. I have some random things that just didn't quite seem to blend nicely with everything, and I didn't want to clutter this up. So I may do another Rockman video of some other stuff I have, and I may also do videos on the other regions of stuff that I have for the US and the European, which those are not complete collections, and I don't know that I will totally finish them out because I am fairly content with my Rockman collection. So thanks for watching, and Undamned Jr., thank you for being a guest on the show, and I'll see you guys later.